Welcome to the Emeka Nwani Show, brought to you by Our House Studios. Here, I'll bring interesting discussions with leading individuals in various fields, discussing their successes, setbacks, and everything in between. I also hope I can bring one or two laughs along the way. Welcome to the Emeka Nwani Show. I have a special guest in the building, an extremely talented artist, performer, producer, and the Grammy nominee, Kah-Lo.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
How you doing?
So it's so great to have you on. You know, for me, I feel like a lot of people know you, and I've heard about you, I've heard your music, but they don't really know you. So I think I wanted to sit down with you just so people could get to know you a bit better, to know how you're one of the most confident and outgoing people I've ever met. And I'm going to find out if that's really real. Or if that's just a front.
Okay.
But yeah, no, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm good. I'm wonderful.
Yeah. You know, a question I've been asking people of late is how is Lagos stressing you in this moment, if at all?
Wow. Okay. We just jumped into the deep end. Well, yesterday, someone stole our side mirrors.
Just like that?
Yes, they just stole the side mirrors. So that was my morning yesterday. So Lagos won.
Where was this?
In our compound. In our house.
Wow.
So it's just, Lagos won, Kah-Lo 0.
Okay. Yeah. So I think, again, we always start with the background. So I know you're doing amazing things in music and have done for a while, actually. So I want to know, has that always been part of your upbringing? Was that always something you really enjoyed? Can you just give us a bit of your background and how you got into your love for music? Okay,
well, what happened was, I've actually loved music from time.
Okay.
And I probably recognized it wasn't just a hobby at 8. And I wrote letters to my parents and they had me sign a contract, which when I was 16, I was like, you guys signed a contract. Because they were like, oh, just finish uni. They probably thought it was a phase and I'll grow out of it. And I was like, we signed a contract.
So what was the contract?
Like, it was that they would let me do it. I just need to finish uni. And I was like, okay, now I finish uni. Refer to that contract. It's still valid. So let's go. And then they were like, you weren't supposed to remember this. And they were like, you know what? We said you can do it. We didn't say we would put the bars. So they were like, okay, good luck. And they cut me off.
Did you used to do talent shows? Or
I used to do open mics and stuff
like that.
Because then I was still in New York. So I used to do open mics all the time. I would SoundCloud, even Forshed, hey God, my age. And I would spam people with links. I'm like, please listen to this. I just released it, please. And that's...
So, okay, a bit further back. So, were you born in Nigeria?
Yes, born in Lagos, born and raised until I was shipped away.
At 16? At 16?
Yes.
To New York?
To New York, yes. For uni. It was supposed to be for uni, but I had other plans. Right? So I had my little side plan. I was like, okay, if I study journalism, then I can get to MTV, which I did intern at MTV. I was like, I can get to MTV. Then when I'm there, I can give some of my demo and all that. I had the whole dream planned out, but it didn't work out that way.
So we'll talk a bit more about your genre. And so I'm guessing that move to New York probably would have shaped that a bit. But again, to your personality, and again, maybe now you don't have the green hair or and all that, but your personality, your style has always been very, very colorful.
Yes.
So I just wonder, where did that come from? Were you always that confident kid, popular kid, or is this a defense mechanism to kind of help you?
We're inside.
Together.
We're in the deep end.
We're talking.
Okay, we'll start from the deep end. Okay. So, in primary school, I got bullied a lot. So by the time I entered secondary school, I'm like, what do you want to call me that they have not called me before? So it's just it just went from there. So everybody's like, oh, mommy, I want to go home. And I'm like, this is fun. Because then what I found out was that making music actually kept me away from being bullied, because they were like, they want to do party. And they used to call me radio without battery. So I would be the one drumming. They were like, play this one. And I would sing it to a T. So anyway, it was a boot camp of some sorts, So it helped me defer attention from, okay, you don't have to punish me because I'm your entertainment.
I hear you. Right?
So maybe in that, when you put it in that context, perhaps that's
But now is this you? in sense where, again, because when I see you out, you're not afraid to speak your mind. You say hi to everyone. You're the life of your energy, the life of the party. So like, is this you? Psychoanalyzing right now.
Yes. Well, because that's actually something that I'm transitioning through right now. Because I mean, as you can tell, the green hair is gone out the window. Even the colors are kind of muted. It's still there, it's still little pops, but it's muted now because I realized that because of maybe how I got my start with like Riton and all them, I realized that because they were trying to put baby in a corner, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be in the front. So I was like, okay, maybe they didn't see me. Maybe I wasn't loud enough. Maybe I wasn't bright enough. So I think I even started with like blonde hair. It wasn't working. I tried pink. It wasn't working. I tried purple. It wasn't working. But the day I now tried green, everyone was like, I was even late to the show because people kept stopping me in the streets. And I was like, okay, I think this is the color. But then the guy gives, people think my favorite color is green. People think, I was just like, no, that's just the one that worked.
Yeah.
That gave me the most attention and served its purpose. So what now happened when I wasn't in the background of a DJ anymore is like, I was like, now I'm left with this persona I've created. And I'm like, oh no, I actually don't like it. So
I didn't know that. I would have thought that would, so you didn't like it.
I didn't like it. Like when you removed all those factors, I didn't like it. So it was a struggle that I think like a 2-year struggle where I was like, I'm putting this wig on. I'm supposed to be like, and shots and blah.
Yeah.
But I don't. But then my whole career was like molded around it. So it was like a low identity crisis that I've now recovered from, as you can see. So now I've toned it down and I'm back to me.
No, yes. I love that.
Now I'm in myself. I'm in my skin. Yes.
I love that. Because I feel I know you quite well, but I wouldn't have known that because I felt that it seemed very aligned with you, which I guess it was. But
for the time,
it's just, they're different phases.
Yeah, it will be fun pictures to look at. I'm like, this is what, when I show my kids.
So talking about that time, especially with the song with Riton, Rinse and Repeat, that got you a Grammy nomination.
Yay.
So I know it was a few years ago now, but like, what was that time like and how did that change your life?
Well, it was very chaotic because everything kind of went like 0 to 100 because I was working at my job, and then even working from home was very unheard of at the time. Like, even they were like, we're giving you this luxury of having you only come to the office 2 days a week. And I was working in Yaba at the time, and this was one of the days that I was working from home. And I woke up and I checked my phone and my phone is buzzing, going off. And I'm like, okay, why are they congratulating me for? And I checked and it was the actual, I even had to check if it's a verified account. I was like, am I being like pranked or something? And I lost it because I didn't even know the song was submitted or anything. They didn't even know the song was submitted. So it was a big shock to all of us. So it was when I now even went to work the next day, because the next morning they had splashed my picture on the front page of, I think, 3 national newspapers.
So that's where, I was going to say, that's where I remember my dad showing, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know it was on the cover of all these newspapers. And I went to work the next day and the security at the office was like, no, you be this. And I was like, it's not me. So I was trying to even maintain some sense of normalcy, like still going to work. My first plaque got delivered to my office.
Wow.
Me and my coworkers opened it together. But then I was working from home and they were letting me travel to do shows. So one time they just got fed up because they were like, okay, now you want to go again. And this was to attend the Grammys. They were like, you want to go again? And you're saying you want to go for like a month. And I'm like, I'll still be working from home. And they were like, you have to choose. I was like, oh no, what a tough decision for me. I have to choose. So I quit my job. I think that's when I was like, okay, now it's real. I have to it's like full time.
So you didn't know it wasn't submitted. You didn't know, because
I didn't know it was submitted.
You didn't know it was submitted.
Actually, all of us who worked on it, because the US team submitted it and it was signed to a UK label. So I guess the US team was only communicating with like, I don't know, like one person who didn't tell everyone. So it was a shock to everybody.
So you attended the show?
Yes.
So take us behind the scenes. What was that like?
Well, it was because I think they've only awarded Best Dance once on the main telecast, and that was because Beyonce, because she broke her record for, I think, most Grammy wins. ever with that one Grammy. So they always do it in a pre-telecast. So it's not as jaja as, the other ones. But it was still nice because I think it was now when we're actually in the room and sitting down and they were calling names and people around us are standing up to give us like speeches. We're like, wait, there actually is a 1 in 5 chance that we could win this and we don't have anything prepared.
Yeah.
And we're like freaking out because we're like, what if we win? What do we do? Yeah, because it's almost like, whoa, your life could really just change in a split second.
So were you disappointed not to win, or were you just happy?
Actually, no, I was kind of just happy to be there because then for the main show, I took my dad.
Okay.
So he was very excited because there's all these like artists that he respected. And I think that year they were doing a tribute to the Bee Gees and he loved the Bee Gees. So he was just happy to be there. Like all the Grammy pictures are like framed everywhere and all that. So he was very happy that he at least got to go to the Grammys, not as a guest, but as the dad of a nominee.
Must have been an amazing experience. Okay, so your genre, again, I think people have heard your songs, have seen your style. But how would you describe your genre? How did you find that niche for yourself, especially being in Nigerian?
Well, when I had my little dream when I was 8, I was like, okay, I don't want to be, like, my goal is not, because then I think the biggest group at the time was Plantation Boys. So I was like, that's not the dream. I'm trying to be like where Brainy is. I was like, I'm trying to be like on a global scale, with like globally understood and accepted like sound. Yeah. So I was like, I want to make pop. I want to make like popular music. So I was very big on, and even because that was the culture I was absorbing the most, I wanted, because I feel like pop is a universal language. It speaks to like, think about Michael Jackson.
Everyone.
King of pop. Like people that can't even speak English love Michael Jackson because you can just see like the energy. So that was always what, I mean, I never in a million years thought it would be house. Like that one I did not think of. It just so happened that I happened to be skilled over 120 BPM. But pop was always the goal.
So who were your inspirations, growing up?
Michael Jackson.
Okay.
So Michael Jackson. I really loved U2 growing up for some reason. I don't know why. And then when I discovered Kanye, that changed my life. Yeah. And then what else? Who else? Actually, there's so many, because I feel like even when MIA came out and she was from Sri Lanka, but she was making this weird, interesting pocket of music. It just spans.
I still also sense it's like that ambition or desire to be a bit different. Because again, like I feel, that's why I said I felt you were a bit slightly ahead of your time even then, because you mentioned like, Plantation Boys, and there was not a generic sound in a bad way, but there was a Nigerian sound and kind of music that everyone listened to. Yeah. But then it kind of seemed like you went like a completely different way, and now it's obviously transitioned more into like house and so do you also think is that maybe that desire to be to stand out, to be catchy? So again, with the hair, with the style.
Maybe it all stems from the same.
I'm just psychoanalyzing today.
The same energy source.
But do you wish like is there a part of you that wishes that maybe you to capture the Nigerian audience a bit earlier?
Yeah.
So, but again, that wouldn't have been you if you went a bit more traditional. So
exactly, because even people to this day, funny story actually. When the Grammy nomination happened, I remember I used to go, this is when iFitness had kind of just started and they just had that one Lekki branch. And I would go to the gym all the time and I used to always tell them, oh, I'm a musician. And they're like, okay, you're right, whatever. And then the Grammy nomination happened. And then this guy comes up, I wish I remembered his name, but he came up to me in the gym. He was like, Farida, you keep coming to the gym. You keep coming to the gym and you're saying you're a musician. Did you see that babe? That babe that they just nominated for Grammy? That could have been you if you were taking it seriously. I was like, really? It really could have. Wow, it really could have. He was really going on like that. I can take this seriously, that he's heard my music, that is really like, it goes beyond boundaries and everything. And I was like, really, you know what? Let's pull her up. Let's find out what she's doing, and he pulls it up and he realizes that the picture is me.
Nigga, that's me.
And then he was like, oh, well. And I was like, exactly. So I do kind of like that. I like the little guessing game it creates of like, oh, is she Nigerian? Is she not? Even my name, Kah-Lo, that's why I chose, because at first, because Mystery too was a big thing, like with The Weeknd and SZA. Like you don't know what SZA is. You don't know where SZA is from. You don't know where The Weeknd is from. I mean, now you know because they're mega stars.
Yeah.
But so that's why I chose the name Kah-Lo, because it's generic enough where you didn't know if it was a guy, you didn't know if it was a girl, you didn't know where Kah-Lo was from. It could be Kal-El, it could be Superman. You don't know. So I liked. I still like it.
Yeah.
And when I open my mouth, I'm in front of a mic, that's what comes out. And I can't force it any other way.
So do you like the kind of direction the music scene is going in Nigeria? Because again, the sound, it seems a bit more, it's less traditional now. People are trying more things, kind of what you were doing, which I said, I feel you're a bit ahead of your time. So like now you see people taking more risks, doing different things, mixing amapiano, mixing house, mixing different things.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, let me talk. Can I cuss?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, let me talk my shit real quick. Because I know I did play a role in that. I know I have a hand in that. So that makes me very happy. Because when I was trying to do all this like genre bending stuff, people were looking at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
Like they were really like, how could you even expect to be profitable if you're in Nigeria and you're making this? Like, it was like I was insane. But now, like with this new generation, like even Ira Star, Rema, all these artists, like, they have that freedom to do that. And one is a metaphor that I like to use is that, I feel like I shattered some type of glass ceiling.
For sure.
But then unfortunately I had the shards of the glass because it's just like, I mean, I'm not biggest selling in the world, but I know that's at the base of the culture. I was there.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. So I was going to ask you about, so people like Thames now, Aya Star, seeing what they're doing in the industry. Like, what are your thoughts? How, impressed and proud?
I love it so much. Sometimes even I shed low thug tears sometimes because I'm like, wow, like these were things that people were making me feel like I was insane for even thinking. Because I've been thinking about this since I was 8. And I've been telling people, and it was like I was speaking a different language, like I'm talking crazy. So now that is actually happening, I'm like, told you.
Yeah, love that. So again, I want us to shatter maybe some myths, some notions about the industry. So first of all, like the challenges, I know, again, knowing you a little bit, like I know that you had some times where, you're a bit down about things, you're very excited about things. I know there's a lot of like bureaucracy, politics, label things. So, can you give us like some insight, like some of those intricacies in terms of like having a label and like the stresses? And you don't have to call out anyone or anything, but like, just kind of take us a bit behind the curtain, how those things are.
Well, in one word, I will say it's ghetto. It's quite ghetto over there. And people think like music is so fun and it's so glamorous. And I think that's the one part that I wish my inner child, I mean, she was a girlie, she didn't know. I wish she considered that because it's very, like, I was even with an artist just the other day and they were saying the same thing. So I'm like, okay, it's not just me, it's not just in my head, right? Because I feel like you give so much to it and a lot of the time you get so little back. And a prime example I like to use is Burna. Like his shows didn't become profitable until I think maybe just 4 years ago. Because when you are touring, a lot of the time when you tour, especially your first few tours, you pay everything out of pocket and you're lucky if you walk away with any extra to keep as income because you're paying people, then you're paying taxes, then you're paying you don't make much money until you build an audience that is big enough where, okay, you're always going to sell hard tickets and all that. So hard tickets, for context, is like, so if you go to a festival and you pay for a whole lineup of musicians, that's soft tickets. Hard tickets is you're doing your own shows and you make all the money from that. So when you get to that point where you're doing, I think they said the number now is 10,000 is when you become profitable. So if you're not pulling 10,000 minimum, you're not making much money. You're always in the red, which is so, just imagine how exhausting that is. This is, year 9 for me, and it's just like, just imagine doing that all the time. That's insanity. Right? Yeah. So that's one of the prime ghettos.
So okay, but again, so we're actually gonna get a lot into touring. But with like the label situation, do you have like, do they control you? Do they you have to do this type of music?
Yeah, that's
how? Yeah. So what's that like?
Well, it's definitely a lot of politics, but then in a way, it's kind of winning in a different type of, is now a different type of ghetto under that same ghetto, because so
many ghettos.
So many ghettos. Because there's now like TikTok and all these platforms where, yeah, the label can push you all they want, but if TikTok doesn't want what you're selling, that's it. Sorry. Now you've put all that money for no reason, because now you're in the red. Because obviously everybody wants to make money.
Yeah.
So, like TikTok is I think that's why the labels are always fighting TikTok, because like your song can go mega viral
just by
on TikTok. But now what's happening is your song is being used in all these videos. And mind you, when it's being used, you don't get paid for that, right? You don't get paid if maybe a video with your song in the back has 300 million views.
I see.
Unless people actually go to the DSP, meaning like the Spotify's and all that, and type in your song
to search for it.
And then it's now causing an even deeper layer of that, because sometimes they just know that one section of the song. So now if your song goes, now you have to maybe just release like a sped up version, and then they're doing mashups. It's a whole licensing issue. Like there was a period last year, I think I had 6 songs going viral simultaneously, but it was all different versions of Fake ID. So it was just like,
I see.
And then the original wasn't, but anyway, that ended up working in my favor because one of them was an original production by this amazing producer called G Lee.
Okay.
And he made it in, I think, his bedroom or something, and it went crazy viral. And at first I was like, legal, we need to take this. We actually took it down, but I was like, wait, hold up. It's going well, right? And it's going good without marketing budget. So we put it online properly. And that song, because of that version, Fake ID went gold, I think, just because of that.
So I was going to ask, because I wouldn't have thought of the negatives. So I would have thought, okay, I have a song that's going. So you see all these songs that go crazy. So I would assume that, people just search for it. But actually, my thought was always like, do you think that maybe distorts the craft somewhat, where people are just trying to go viral, and not necessarily trying, because you hear some of these songs and that part, like the part that goes viral, and then you listen to the song, the rest of the song, sometimes it's a bit you get a bit underwhelmed, which maybe someone might have worked hard for that part as well, but because that wasn't the viral moment, when you listen to the full song, it's kind of a bit underwhelming.
And I know someone who really was suffering the brunt of it was Steve Lacy with that his I wish I knew you was
okay.
Yeah, I don't even know the name of the song, which is
I think
bad. But it went crazy viral, and he's someone who, like, he's very passionate about his live shows, and he has all these kind of, like, I would compare it to like maybe Tame Impala type of, electro pop R&B fusion, and he puts a lot of craft into his live. And all of a sudden, his real fans, his core fans, couldn't even come to the shows because there's all these TikTok people coming to the shows, and they're like, boo for the whole show. They are booing him at his own show that they bought tickets for, because they just want to hear one part. One part, which is
that's crazy.
And he started, there's like a whole compilation on YouTube where he's getting mad at the audience. Like, because just imagine, like, your whole show and real fans aren't there. It's just people who just want to hear one section.
So do you think that people still need labels today? No. Especially with like all the social media platforms you can create in your room, you can distribute to millions and millions of people.
I don't think it's very smart to be with the label right now.
Did all those like bureaucracy, stress and things, did that make you lose passion for music at any point?
Oh yes. Oh yes. How long do you have? Because kind of like what I said, like I didn't imagine that part when I was imagining the dream. So it really like hit me like a ton of bricks, because I was like, oh, wow, I've been working so hard to get here, but like, all you have to do now, because there's also, the being a woman and having to do the whole hypersexual type thing. And if you're not doing that, then you have to, unless like you're lucky and, you get this song that pops off in a different way. It's just like, it's almost like a situation of like pick your poison in a way. But thankfully, I'm at a point where I understand a lot of my own needs aside from like social media, and it's because I feel like social media has a way of perpetuating of, oh, you should be doing this, or you should be here, or you should have had this audience, you should have done this tour. But it's just like really, when you look within, right? I love to say look within. When you look within, what do you actually want? Sometimes that's different. And I started to realize that for me, that's different because kind of like what we said earlier about like the bass. Like, I feel like I'm very fine being the bass. Because I honestly, if I popped off today and I had to be all over the world every time, I would hate myself. I would hate my life, and I wouldn't want that. So it's just like, why am I praying for that at the end of the day? It's just like,
I hear you. So Kah-Lo, we have some quick fire questions for you to get to know you a bit better. So first question is, why did you pick the name Kah-Lo?
Well, I never had a nickname growing up, and my sister used to call me Frida Kahlo because we watched the Kah-Lo movie, the Frida movie with Salma Hayek. And I was like, okay, I don't have a nickname, and I also don't want a lawsuit, so I'm going to put the Kah-Lo, but I'm going to put a hyphen. Yeah.
I was thinking, is it because, Farida and Frida, is that the link?
Because she was like, Frida Kahlo.
That's the link. This guy, and I don't know if you heard, is it Shabuzi or whatever?
Yeah, because you mispronounce it.
So I was like, Farida and Frida.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've toured all over the world. Where was your favorite destination to tour?
Actually, it is Australia. It's far. I hate the flight, but I love, because they also show me so much love there, and the beaches are so beautiful. The weather is amazing. Beautiful, wonderful salads.
Yeah, Australia.
Yeah.
Favorite music artist of all time?
Hey, Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. All right. Night in or night out?
Night in.
I say everyone is lying. I'm sure everyone is saying night in. Everyone's saying that. So really night in.
Era.
I guess. So really night in.
Outside is expensive. Sakpa is outside.
Night in doing what?
Hanging with my husband. I can say that and not be delusional. Yeah.
So just chilling, watching shows,
my husband,
eating.
Watching shows, eating, getting a pizza,
All right. So fashionista like yourself, sneakers or heels?
I'm in my heels era now. I don't wear my sneakers anymore unless I have a lot of errands to run. I'm in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your biggest regret in music?
Hi.
Heavy.
Running through the Rolodex of all the regrets.
Heavy.
Actually, you know what? Let me because I'm trying to positively think about things. None, because if I didn't have the regrets, I wouldn't be me today.
I see.
So there we go.
I'll let you have that.
Yeah.
Who is your dream music collab?
It's Calvin Harris.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still Calvin Harris.
That would be fire.
Yeah. Because I was so close one time and then I lost it. So I'm Calvin. Hello, call me.
3 musicians you would love to have a sit down with, dead or alive.
Michael Jackson. Kanye. I want to know what's going on in that mind right now.
Okay.
Yeah. And Rihanna. Yeah.
Okay. Random one. Dream car.
I don't have one. I would like to be driven around.
Do you know what I could imagine you in? Especially, maybe this is old era Kah-Lo.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like some like massive like pink or green like G-Wagon or something like that.
You know what's so funny? I've never had a dream car. I'm not into cars. Yeah. I'm just like, just drive me around. I just want to be driven.
Okay. So what have you achieved so far that you're most proud of?
Probably because people always think I have one Grammy nomination, but I also have a Grammy recognition. I would say I didn't get a Grammy itself, but I wrote a song that Angelique Kidjo ended up loving, and she won a Grammy for her album. So by proxy,
amazing.
I got a little thing too.
Amazing.
So that was because I'm like, wow, I wrote a song for Angelique Kidjo. That is like insane.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your answer. That was good.
Thank
That's
you.
good. So we've spoken about money in music a bit with like touring and, you know, hard sales. Was it hard?
Hard tickets.
Hard tickets, soft tickets. So with streams, again, that's another misconception I think people have. So like, you know, if a song, like how does it work with like streams and downloads? Like I've heard maybe like you get like $1 for like maybe like how does that work?
You said $1. So funny.
Or like a few cents?
You get 0.0034 cents, I believe.
Wow.
They might have increased it or reduced it, I don't know. But 0.020 after decimal point.
Wow.
34 cents per stream. So I think it's about $1,000 for 1 million streams. Which if you're with the label, you have to give them about 70%, which leaves you with about $300, which you split with the people who made the song with you. And then you pay taxes. So yeah.
Wow.
So fun.
Yeah, you guys have heard it. Wow.
So wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you need to do like hundreds of millions of streams.
Yeah.
To make any, and you're still going to split a lot of that anyway.
Yeah. So it's just not like, unless you're doing like crazy numbers, which kind of like what I said earlier about things not being profitable until that's like so much you have to put in before you can start. Because one thing that really used to bother me, especially about Nigerian musicians in Nigeria, that I used to hate it so much, is that before the streaming era, you know, we used to have CDs and there was the whole fight piracy with Alaba Boys and everything. So it was the whole thing where, and I mean, it still happens a bit till today, where if you don't have a hit that year, like you're kind of over, you know, because there's no, think about how many of our legendary like artists, like our GOATs, who don't have recurring income every quarter that comes to them. And it's like, it's so upsetting because now actually sometimes people will sign these deals and they're signing them like forever. And you know, maybe it's some exec promising, I'll pay for your apartment, for your flat in Lagos for a year. And they're like, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. But it's just like when you think long term and you look at the terms of the deal, like
it's like almost like highway robbery sometimes.
It's giving slavery.
Yeah, slavery.
Like it's really, really bad. So what was the question again?
No, you answered it. Just like the money and like how, you know, people might think you're making a lot of money, or like artists in general are making a lot of money, but there's so many things and things behind it.
I know there's a bunch of court situations because now there's even that whole thing with AI where people are like making these AI songs with other people's likeness, obviously.
That's good. Yeah.
So it's just like, then how do you know the difference? How do you protect your IP? Yeah. How do you even try to monetize it, or do you try to stop it entirely? Or are we too late? There's so many questions.
So before we get to touring more deeply, like, so would you advise people that love music and you know want to be anyone else, again with the, you know, the touring stresses, the like financial, you know, struggles that artists go through, the, you know, the label bureaucracy, politics. Would you have like young people that want to get into this industry?
Yeah.
Would you advise, if it's their passion, right, they should still go for it?
If they have very thick skin, this is not for the faint of heart. Because I come from a very big family, and something very funny has happened where it's almost like I opened the floodgates for the creatives, the inner creatives, because I feel like this didn't just come out of nowhere. I feel like somewhere along my lineage, there's somebody with buried creativity that just exposed itself through me. Because the thing was disturbing me like at 8. At age 8, what did I know? But the thing was disturbing me. So, so something funny is that all these cousins, like all of a sudden, are trying to become musicians, and they keep asking me. They're like, "Is it worth it?" Because now some of them are graduating uni, and they're like, "Should I keep fighting my parents and, you know, saying this is what I want to do?" I'm like, you know what? Do not even attempt it. If your skin is not like this thick, like, because it will eat you up, it will chew you, and it will spit you out.
Wow.
Because just imagine, even if you do get to that superstar level, imagine how mean Nigerians are in comments. and they attack you. And literally every February, every February, I have to like mute all social media because that's around when the Grammys happen. And then that's when my name comes up and people are like going back and forth, insulting each other. They're tagging me and stuff. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, please, for my mental health, can we not? Because it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
Just the commentary part, the financial sacrifices. Just, you know what, blanket statement will probably be the sacrifices. A lot of sacrifice, you know.
So what would you say you enjoy most about?
Well, it's fun to be able to do my passion every day, you know, even though that's probably about 10, 20% of it overall. But it's fun to, because I mean, I do be singing. I'm quite talented. I'm quite skilled when it comes to that. So even sometimes when I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. And then I hear a song I made, I'm like, oh, that's why you do it. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty confident in my abilities. So even if at all I do end up not doing this anymore someday, I probably will still be doing it in some angle, you know, just a different one.
So how much like gratification do you get when people enjoy like something you put out, or is it more about how you feel about it?
Well, because honestly, if it was fully about how I feel, I probably would have quit this about 6 years ago. Because especially during COVID was such a tough period for musicians. I think every few months I used to be like, please check on your musician friends because we're not okay. Yeah. So I think what makes it worth it, what makes it feel worth it, and I think this is the case for most people who are still here, is that because, you know, you go out there, you perform, and you see what something that you just wrote in your free time and just tra-la-la manifested itself as a fun beat is affecting people. Like, and you're just like, wow, like, I mean so much to these people. And not even just, let me leave the ego right here for a sec. Like, my music has been able to do so much for these people. And just because even some people are like, oh, wow, all my unique core memories are because of you. Because, you know, I used to make all these party songs. And then I think someone came up to me and is like, my music gives them the confidence to wake up every morning because, you know, they have self-esteem issues. And my music is I'm that girl. And like, my music does that for them every morning. And I'm like, wow, that's such a responsibility, you know? So I think that's the main thing that keeps me being like, okay, fine.
I think that's the thing about art, and in so many different capacities, even like what I'm doing, obviously it's not art, but it's when you're doing something and also the response you get, the positive reinforcement, of course the criticism as well, which could also help you improve. But that's what makes it so hard, because it's like you feel like you're, especially for someone like you're putting yourself out there, your energy, your emotion. And it's like, at the same time, someone might appreciate it, someone might not appreciate it. But like the gratification, I guess, that when it comes out well, you're happy with it and other people are happy with it, must be, because it's like almost like high risk, like you're putting yourself out there, and that response, you know, is so, it makes so much of a difference.
You have to like really learn to like drown out, first of all, the inner voices. That's the first one. And then the noise from outside, and just zen and just think about what you're doing for the planet, you know.
So you've toured all over, like, you know, Europe. I think you did like New Zealand, Australia. I don't know if you've done Australia yet. No.
I have.
Yeah, Australia as well.
3 times.
So we've spoken about the difficulties in terms of, you know, the stresses of touring, and again the ticket sales, blah blah blah. But what's the actual process of touring like, and how do you enjoy touring?
Have you seen that interview where they ask Michael Jackson, they're like, can you say that again? And he's like, I love to tour. Because touring, and that's Michael Jackson, who's probably like, and touring is very tough. It's very, very, very tough. Like, I think there's only just maybe like a 1% demographic of musicians who do touring very well and actually love every single part of it. Because that's another ghetto. That's a whole other ghetto that is unexplored, because it's just like you're doing all this and a lot of time you're out of pocket and it's exhausting, and then you have to like obviously have the same energy each city, because you can't be like, oh, I had a bad day in city A and go to city B and give a bad show. It has to be just as good as city A and city B and city C, because if you had a bad show, no one cares that you were having a bad day that day.
They paid money. That's what they care
paid
about.
money
That's
to
what
see
that's what they care
dance.
about.
Okay.
Dance.
Dance. Come on, do something.
So you don't really, you wouldn't say I guess you enjoy seeing your fans, but like you don't particularly enjoy the experience.
The experience behind, because sometimes even, I remember the most recent tour I did, there was a period where I think I was running on 3 hours of sleep in 3 days because I was going to different time zones. And I had to do this show. And I was like, I don't even know. I don't even have the strength to stand up to even do the makeup right now. But I don't know what happened. You get on there, the lights come on, the mic is on, boom. And it's just like adrenaline and the Holy Ghost for like 45 minutes to an hour. And it's just like, yeah. And I think that's when that stops happening, that's when it's time to be like, okay, bye.
So how much does it mean to you when you see people though packing out, like, you know, again, seeing like in New Zealand or wherever, like people coming out to see you? Like, must be a crazy feeling.
It's very crazy. I don't think it's a natural feeling actually to have, because there's not a lot of people that can relate to you on that level. So it's just like you see that and you're like, whoa, all this. And because it's almost like an exchange of energy, because you're giving them something and they're giving you all this like charge back. So I'm sure there's some science behind it.
So I might be biased, but like also all the things we've spoken about, the thing I'm happiest about, I'm most proud about is your song on EA Sports. EA Sports FC. So FIFA basically has FIFA in short.
Yeah.
Your song called Get It.
Yeah.
So how did that come about, and how did that go?
I think that is my 5th song.
Yeah, you've had quite a few.
Yeah. Shout out EA. Yeah. Shout out EA Games.
You had quite a few.
Call me. Yeah. Yeah, because even I just found out, I think top of this week, I have a song in F1.
F1,
the
okay.
F1 game. So I get games quite a lot.
The tempo.
I think gamers just love.
I think that's such a big one. Because I guess for me, again, because growing up, there were always these songs. So you can ask a lot of guys, I'm sure some girls too, like growing up on FIFA, there were always so many songs that when we hear now, it just takes you back.
Yeah.
So that's going to be you for like generations as well. Yeah, that, you know, that was crazy. Like their moment.
Yeah, I think that's really like cool. Being caught. I never thought about it like that, but that's pretty cool. Because why it was cool for me to even get I think my first song to be on FIFA was Nwani. And that made me so happy because obviously I'm speaking Yoruba in the song. And I think it was already like a very proud moment for me. Yeah. And then what made me prouder was Don Jazzy messaged me one day and he was like, I've been playing FIFA and I've been listening to this song. And I'm like, this is Yoruba. But it's not like Yoruba in the way I'm used to hearing it on a song. But it's like Yoruba, I can tell that it's not just some person that just learned a Yoruba word that put it on there. And he was just like, you're so cool. I'm like, you are telling me I'm so cool? You are so cool. And that's so cool that you think I'm so cool. So like, that was like peak, career high for me.
So what's the process like? So if they want to get a song of yours, like how does that work? Do they just reach out to your agent, or how does it go?
Well, I've been doing this for quite a while now. So I think they always have their eye on my releases to some degree. But I also have my publishers who are amazing. I'm with Pulse. And they pitch my songs all the time. And thankfully, they get picked.
Even like movies. There was a movie, I forget what, there was a movie that had one of your songs.
Movie or TV show? Because
maybe it was TV show. No, TV show.
I've never had a movie.
Yeah, TV show. Yeah, TV show.
Trying to get a movie sync.
It was TV show.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we end, congratulations on your marriage. Getting married. Welcome to the club.
Thank you.
So first of all, how does it feel? Like, what are your, expectations?
Well, expectations. I don't know if that is
expectations.
Fair to have expectations because, life be lifing, you know. And I think if you expect anything, forget it. I mean, if I had to expect anything, is that I will continue to be loved.
Yeah.
If you stop it, I'm hunting down. But I don't believe that's stopping anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's quite because I didn't think I would be married so soon. I actually thought I'll be one of those, you know, when I'm 40, I'll figure it out. But you know, I found someone special.
You did.
Decided to lock it down.
So, you know, something I always found interesting, like when an artist starts obviously single, right?
Yeah.
And then you get married.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel there's a perception. So for instance, I feel maybe some guys or even girls that maybe seen you perform on stage, you know, this and that, maybe sexualizing you or whatever.
Yeah.
And
like I get proposed to like every show.
Exactly. So in their eyes, you know, there's the illusion that, oh, she's gettable. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say. But like now it's like you're married, so it's like a different dynamic. Is that something you thought about at all?
Yes and no, because I think what's also simultaneously happening is that because my art is kind of changing, which I think also obviously spilled over into my personal life. I like to say I kind of like discovered my feminine energy because I was quite in my masculine for a while. Yes. I was kind of masculine for a while. And I think what just started happening was I was like, oh, I would love to dress like this when I grow up. I would love to be like this when I grow up. And I was like, wait, I am grown
I'm grown up.
What are we doing? So it kind of started spilling over. I started, you know, obviously doing it in my own, like, okay, my everyday life. But it started spilling over into the music I was making. All of a sudden, I started writing about love for the first time. Before, all my music is like party, dance, shots.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that has already started affecting my art. So I mean, I've noticed that literally as I'm getting a lot of followers, I'm losing a lot of followers because
it's different.
Yeah, I'm kind of liking. Growth, who knows? Maybe I'll start making grown and sexy music. You know, you see us when we're 50.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. Yeah, so I can imagine. Yeah, people like are growing with the artist, right? So you know, so that
and that's kind of like your core, you know. And love is nice because when you write about love, it never goes out of style. People are always going to fall in love, so that's nice.
One. So last at the end, we always have a redemption segment. That's why I call it. So it's like a moment where I don't know whether it was a show that went wrong, a relationship, a job, like a moment where, you know, it just seemed like quite bad or dark or what maybe it was a thing with the label or whatever it was. And then you were able to overcome it and, you know, come out the other side.
Well, because there was a period where the people I kind of started with started trying to like take advantage of me. And it was kind of frustrating because I really saw them as like family. And it was like, because that was also like my first, I would say, what's the English? Is it foray into like adulthood and all that? So I think that was the first time I was like, oh, capitalism, do be capitalism.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whoa, this is like crazy. So I started getting into my laws of power energy. I was like, okay, I even started watching Power, like the show to figure out, okay, how do you finesse people finessing you? So it was very dark because especially when it's coming from people that, you know, you really thought were like your core foundation that were like, you know, it was a very tough time. And then shortly after that, COVID happened.
Okay.
Oh, it was the trenches. It was the full trenches. Sometimes I really look back on that time and I'm like, wow, how did you survive all of that? Because it was just like left, right, bush, bush, bush. And, but we thank the Lord. I'm like here, now, I'm smiling.
So now, are you like a lot more careful about your circle, about who you work with?
Yes and no. Actually, ironically, what that period taught me is that I need to get more. Because right before all that happened, I had a year of yes, where I was like, you know what, I'm going to say yes to everything, even the things that scare me, which it helped. It opened a lot of like new doors for me. But then all of a sudden I was like, we're about to have a year of no. So now I find more power in my no and setting boundaries and, you know, no helps me more than yes does right now. Because I was also in my people pleaser energy, like very, very bad. So now no like helps me assert myself and even kind of like all these people that want to take you for idiots.
Yeah.
Like once you're like, no, shut that down. Like it catches them off guard, and it's just like, we don't do. Because some people are afraid of saying no. They're like, oh, what if I don't get this opportunity again? Oh, what if this happens? But it's just like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely help. That would definitely help.
That'll do it.
So honestly, no, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Please follow Kah-Lo on all platforms.
And follow Emeka Nwani.
And get ready for even more releases. I think you have a new song coming.
Or
that's dropped.
It's dropped already. Summer. Yeah.
So continue to follow her and support her and all over the world. And again, thanks for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned for more episodes. We have more great episodes coming up. Thank you.